Quiet on the set. Everyone looks at Disco. 1, 2, 3. Ow! Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Galen.
And this is your 15 minutes of FUME. Look, we could waste a lot of time on a lengthy introduction about who we are and what this is and what's going on. But we've got perfumes to smell, and history has shown that we are bound to ramble and run along tangents, like I'm already doing.
You already are. Just watch other videos if you would like, a very long introduction.
We should do some kind of proper introduction video eventually. But for now, I will just say
sniff some stuff.
That Gothic perfumer Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab has created 7 perfumes that inexplicably remind the perfumer of April. And we have 6 of them here today.
Whoops.
I mean, it is what it is. Just like April. Remember April? Long time ago already. If you would like to remember what it smelled like, perhaps look at one of the following paintings and or smell the accompanying perfume.
You can time travel.
It's an exercise in synesthesia as well as time travel. It's basically all of your senses doing all kinds of things instead of what they're supposed to be doing right now.
The hokey pokey.
Right. It's the olfactory equivalent of the hokey pokey. Brought to you by
That was me putting
Pride
my
Month.
whole head in.
Oh,
shaking
God.
it all about.
Yeah. You don't put your whole head into the perfume. Save a little something of yourself, I don't even know if you can see Disco over here on the side, but he's here and he's going to cause some trouble during the video. Indubitably. So just be ready for that. We're just constantly ready for trouble now. So that insane introduction aside, shall we sniff a perfume?
That was probably 15 minutes in itself.
Already sweating. It's summer. We're going to start off with a perfume called Hold On to Your Butts. Not the name of perfume, just general instructions.
A painting called Hold On to Your Butts.
By Samuel L. Jackson. The painting is called A Nosegay of Roses, Marigolds, Larkspur, and a Bumblebee. This is a painting by Rachel Roish, and the scent is, perhaps unsurprisingly, roses, marigolds, larkspur, orris, moth dust, and a poof of honey and beeswax. There's that bee. I know that you're a beeswax aficionado, and you're predisposed to like some of this at least. I love the idea of larkspur. It's a beautiful word to say. Ooh, wow. What a, delightfully kind of sugary, sweet floral. The beeswax and the honey are combining to make something that smells almost like caramelized.
Yes, that's it.
It's reminding me a little bit of the recent clown, Blacklight Reactive Clown poster, which was like a candy floss rose, with strawberry and other stuff, but that same kind of strangely edible plant flower food combination.
My first smell of this, and I don't mean this disparagingly, it was like walking into a room with no ventilation that has been completely shut in, but it's full of roses and dust and maybe some candles or something. It's just there's a heat, but it's also
yeah, it has real warmth to it.
Yeah.
There's a real warmth and a body and a kind of a living energy.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned, I forgot about the moth dust or whatever. Is that what it said?
Yeah.
And now that you mention it, I mean, I think that's part of what, there's a kind of a melancholy, as you can see from the painting, that's appropriate. There's a kind of a stifled longing that I would say expresses itself through a sense of age and maybe maturity in the scent. Because there's also this kind of weird youthful vivacity of the flowers and the sweetness of the honey. And then it runs up against this kind of dark background. She's a complicated woman. I've got some on my skin already. And now I shall be smelling that. Thank you very much. It's like a constant sigh. I just want to put this on and smell it and sigh.
Well, you can do that.
Oh, I mean, what else is there to do? I will say that the rose is stepping aside on the skin, and I'm getting a little more of what I want to say is stuff like marigold and larkspur, in terms of a kind of a floral of a different color. different tones coming out. There's still this kind of like whimsy in it because of like the poof of honey and so forth, but it doesn't exactly assuage like the deeper, you know, sense of mood, the mood that's rising up from underneath. Just beautiful though.
Yeah, very moody. I like that.
It definitely has... Okay, so April being a tricky month weather-wise, it's interesting as a synesthesia project. Anything can happen in April. There's like a warmth coming from this, like an exuding, like a full spring happening.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I know some of these other paintings look a little like maybe chillier or damper. Yeah, for me it's really giving clown poster. I guess that's just... I've been wearing that one a lot lately, so maybe that's just where my mind goes. Now, we're moving on to Flowers in a Grotesque Vase.
Oh, God. Couldn't you have picked a nicer one?
What are you talking about?
The vase.
It's grotesque.
It's grotesque.
Grotesque does not necessarily... Okay, so just... Oh, hold on, let me...
Oh, I was just having fun.
I know you are, but this is an education moment. We think of grotesque being a particular thing. The actual, like, definition relates to, like, aesthetically, like, comically or repulsively ugly or distorted. But there's, like, a whole... Like, in art, a lot of things are considered grotesque that you might, like, not even look at and think are particularly, like, horrifying or too strange. Just, like, you know, exaggerations and distortions of, like, faces in patterns and stuff. So, you know, in art, it might not necessarily mean anything too sinister. So the scent is an Apoponax-dusted butterfly lights on a droopy fistful of tulips, lilies, iris, ranunculus, and stray wildflowers that are erupting from a tusked, tarnished silver grimace. A tusked, tarnished silver grimace is like a theater warm-up. The painting, by the way, is by Orsola Maddalena Caccia, and I can apparently barely speak today, so maybe I'll be better at smelling than I will at talking. The painting is beautiful. I like that painting. The color palette in it is lovely and will look good in our living room. So I'm expecting a kind of another, like a different dusty floral.
It was much more like a watery floral.
Mm-hmm. I think part of it is that tulip because it tracks a little similar to me to that the Cameo Chaperone scent that was part of Lupercalia, which I then compared to the Dead Blondes fragrance, where it is kind of like a sort of like a watery, wilty kind of floral. Very placid. It's like green and silvery.
Mm-hmm. Very, very green. There's a lot of green in this.
Like the Cameo Chaperone was like the smell of that music box with like the tulip petals, which was like a silvery antique music box. And this is similar with the silvery vase, except for there is definitely a little more complexity going on here with the different flowers that are involved. It really reminds me a little of the Last Unicorn. That one had like white chocolate and stuff going on in it, and like lettuce. It smells almost like there is a garbage truck backing up. I can practically hear it because of the synesthesia.
What is in this? Tulips, lilies, iris, ranunculi, and stray wildflowers.
Ranunculuses.
Okay. Interesting.
Stray wildflowers. Yes.
I definitely get the tulip. That's like mostly, that's like the real showstopper.
It doesn't seem to be like super Apoponaxy, but it does seem dusty again. Isn't that funny?
Yes.
There's like a kind of like a strange, like crumbly, powdery, you know, tinge to it. In my mind, I'm getting like a silvery eyeshadow palette that is like cracked and like erupting all over the inside of my caboodle.
Yeah, it's all over.
It like springy, but again, and like dry. I don't know. I said it's funny because we said green water earlier, but there is something in the dry down that is
there is.
It's drying it out.
Something in my eye.
You have a whole dog in your eye, or just one hair. The next one in our little collection is Les Origines. and this is a painting or illustration by Odilon Redon and Odilon Redon. I don't know. Among the other things that I don't know are, what am I looking at? I have seen this artwork before. I don't really know what it is. It looks like an eyeball with eyelashes underneath another eyelid with eyelashes. Is it a face? Is it a human? Is it a monster? Is it me?
Is it a question mark?
It looks like it's a moody, mysterious, introspective drawing. The eye is like rolled backward, almost like it's trying to like look not just up, but like all the way around. And the scent is white tea, black pepper, vetiver, white tobacco, and narcissus.
Okay. Okay.
Totally different.
Using my imagination to think about how it might smell, and now. Yeah.
Yes, it's pale and peppery and smoky. It's like there's a fly buzzing around here that, because everything is turned off, I can hear as if it's a police helicopter.
And you can too. I love the black pepper in this.
Because of the sparseness of the other ingredients and the way the vetiver kind of, I think, collaborates, it's a very spiky pepper.
And it's got that kind of like, what was the floral in it?
Narcissus.
That's what it is. It's like that.
Interesting that it's narcissus, and I talked about like the introspection and the gaze and everything.
What about the gaze?
The gaze. Happy Pride! All you narcissuses out there, narcissies.
Okay, I want to try this on. Are you smelling the
Yes.
Sorry, I'm having an HSN meltdown. Can you smell the
product is flying right now.
The tobacco in the bottle, because I couldn't.
No, I couldn't.
Was curious to see it stand out on the. I'm sorry, I'm losing it.
We're all losing it together.
Having a fun day in the studio.
It's a very cozy experience of everyone in the world losing it simultaneously. What fun.
For me, the vetiver and the black pepper are really popping out.
Yes.
I'm not smelling the tobacco yet.
So while I'm not getting a strong tobacco, what I am getting is it is kind of strangely papery, which I think is like an allusion to the aesthetic.
It is.
And I do think that there's something about the dry, earthy tobacco that's kind of tempering the pepper and grounding it a little bit, and I think that is contributing to the overall paperyness of the scent.
Oh, it's very papery. That's interesting.
It's definitely just kind of like rich and spicy and dry and kind of like unsentimental, relatively monochromatic, just like the illustration, just like a really nice interpretation of like a strange drawing.
Yeah.
Because also the drawing all feels like it's kind of like the way that it's composed and the way that it's shaded all feels like it's kind of like all one piece. It's just one vision all blurred together. You can't kind of pick it out like this object and this object. And the scent is very similar to that, just kind of like a mysterious swirl. Okay, so now we are moving on to Oberon, Titania, and Puck with fairies dancing. Illustration by William Blake, and the combination of the subject matter and artist are such that I feel if I do not like this perfume, I will cry. I want to like it so badly. Misted mallow flower, orris root, osmanthus, white incense, sandalwood, peonies, and cream. Should be no problem. I should be able to love this. You want to come be a star dog? Come here, kid.
You want to be a star, don't you?
He doesn't want to walk on that fly swatter, and I don't blame him.
He's like, you stuff on the couch, I don't understand.
Yes. Good boy. He won't stay. He only loves me for the treats. When the treat can goes away, so will he.
Kind of like when the wind changes.
Yes, it's like Mary Poppins.
He's a lot like Mary Poppins.
He is practically perfect in every way.
Yes.
Okay.
And he can slide up banisters. I don't know how.
Puck me, baby. Okay. Wow. 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 Okay. So the peony is blasting. That's my impression. I'm really getting a lot more floral from this than I expected.
Yeah, like a floral, but with like incense haze.
I was kind of surprised at kind of how heavy and heady this is. But then as I sit with it, I do get that glint of sweetness, like a kind of like a halo at the top that is the mallow flower. Like, and it does have this, overall creamy, misty quality. It's kind of like surprisingly colorless, which, again, should not be that surprising if you look at the illustration and it's all in, a very limited color palette. It has a real shimmer to it. I'm surprised at how kind of serious it smells to me. Okay, this is what I wanted. On the skin, it is brightening up considerably. Like it's coming to life a little bit. That sweetness comes out and is making it a little more playful. Like the creaminess and the mallow is just kind of like emerging. Disco, what? Come here. Here we go. Okay. Yes. He suddenly realized that getting our attention could be profitable to him. Go get it. What do you think? It pairs excellently with the dog treat in my hand.
It does have this very pale, floofy kind of fairy charm.
It really does.
Like, I know this is not the one that's called the Fairy Lovers, right? But it still has that like weird kind of mystical fairy energy.
April is like April is peak month for fairies and the IRS. Kind of makes you wonder. Yeah, there is kind of like a misty, greeny gloaming happening here. And I'm happy because...
I like the sandalwood in it.
Yes, it's
like a nice base.
The incense is kind of smoothing out. In the bottle, I was just like a little, I don't know, I was apprehensive. There's definitely, I guess it must be the sandalwood. There is just something kind of like lightly spicy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, it has a bit of playfulness and frolic in it, as well as some mystery. So,
very playful. I love this one. The mallow is, I don't know. It just it makes everything like, just like fairy sparkles.
Yes.
I don't know.
I love anytime there's like mallow anything, like not just like marshmallow, but like a full mallow situation. I often find that really kind of, I don't know, gives it just like this extra charm. We're still in Fairy Town because the next perfume is the Fairy Lovers. By Theodore von Holst. Pretty different fairy scenario here. These are kind of like horny fairies at night. Fairyland after dark. Pearl Gardenia, Artemisia, Moonflower, and Creamy Vanilla Flower. Pearl Gardenia. That's funny. Earlier when I read that, I thought it said pear. Pearl Gardenia, Artemisia, Moonflower, Creamy Vanilla Flower, with Velvet Rose, Crimson Labdanum, and Moonlit Amber dancing above dewy pale mosses. So, just chucking treats into the void.
This almost smells like candy.
Yeah.
Like there's just like a sweetness to it that's like...
So
what am I even getting? Oh, there's
here
the vanilla flower.
You've got the vanilla and the amber. And there's a kind of like the rose is a little spicy, I can tell in there. Oh, it's just like heaven. I mean, it really does just smell like a storybook illustration come to life. There's something about it that is just like so idealized, like a true fantasy. And you know what? Like, I think part of that has got to be the mosses, which are kind of rounding it out, because I'm not really tracking them, you know, like in the bottle, but there is definitely this kind of like freshness to it. There's like a real sense of place and like humidity. Maybe it's just, you know, us schwitzing in here under the lights, under the ministrations of Mary-Kate and Ashley. That is, we have two lights, and I use the Dymo label maker so we could tell them apart when we're adjusting them, and one of them is Mary-Kate and the other is Ashley. Good luck telling them apart otherwise. Okay. putting more of this on because it's just like incredibly romantic and sensual. And there's just like a kind of a carefree quality to it, you know?
Yeah.
Just like breezy. I can discern the rose. I can pick out the mosses. These other, Artemisia moonflower, the gardenia is like hard because there's just so much. There's a kind of just like an indistinct chatter of like beautiful flowers. And it's just really warmed and sweetened up by the vanilla and amber, but also kept kind of just like cool and fresh by, mosses and I guess the labdanum is darkening it a bit too. I don't know. It's cool. It's considered with the painting. It's just fascinating because there is just this scent of like twinkling lights and rich colors and that fairy quality where you're not really sure where the illumination is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck figuring it out. And if you do figure it out, they probably won't let you leave. It is of the Fae.
Just like a fairy wonderland.
So the one that we're missing is the sheepfold moonlight. So, which is funny because, I probably would really like this. The scent is just soft wool and hey, absolute. I am like, oh, you can just use your imagination. It is like an overall, it's a good one for us to be missing because it's a simpler scent and I do think it's easier for people to imagine on your own. So hopefully you don't feel too, set adrift. Also, we just watched the movie Lamb, and so I feel like I already, spent a whole movie's worth of time exploring what that would smell like. Very sheepy. So that leaves us with the final one here on the list, which is Vase de Lilas à la FENETRE. I am here to have my French just brutally read for filth. By Mary Cassatt. And the scent is freshly cut lilacs with a touch of amber, bourbon, vanilla, and muguet, which is a lily of the valley, I think I learned once upon a time.
Yes.
I'm teachable. I do gradually figure out some things related to, this has been a real education, I will say that. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Yes. Woof. Woofers. Nothing like a heady, lilac, heavy floral bouquet to just make you say, woofers. I mean, it's incredibly serene, and I did just, take a deep inhale and then feel myself unclench in just, all sorts of obscure areas. I've been saying romantic a lot, but, we're doing, floral bouquets, so what do you want from me?
Yeah. In
the bottle, I mean, again, there is something really, there's a wistfulness from the lilac, but it's also kind of serious. It's kind of, it's intense. This is, a really intense mood. Mm-hmm. Why won't he write back?
Because he's just not that into you. Or he died at war.
That cannot be it. I don't want him to have died at war, but that is the only acceptable answer.
It couldn't be that he's just not that into me.
No. He's definitely
I am a catch. I'm fine.
I will dress in black for the rest of my life rather than believe that he simply, barked up another tree.
I am not the problem.
I am not the problem. Wow. Well, the lilacs are not the problem. I expected this to be lighter because I guess of the bourbon vanilla and the amber and the lilacs and everything. Yeah, I expected this to be just kind of a little brighter, a little lighter, and it's surprisingly kind of dolorous.
I feel, lilies, not lilies, lilacs are a real moody flower. It could go either way, really, where it's it could be light and playful, or it could be very serious.
She's doing it all here. There's whisperiness. It's just insinuations, whispery insinuations, and then also just a bit of the heavy, kind of lugubrious. I don't know. It's.
Yeah.
I guess I would just expect like the sweeter aspects to kind of really brighten it up, and if anything, they're just kind of like propping up this like immense weight, which is just like the embodiment of lilac.
Yeah.
It's so hard to describe. I wish I've been seeing people talk about how Bee Pal is having a kind of a lilac renaissance right now because we've released some really nice ones lately, and I wish that I was, that this was one of my cherished notes so that I could do it justice in terms of describing exactly what it smells like and what is so wonderful about it. I've always been kind of intimidated by it just because I don't really it's not something I ever grew up smelling, and it's nothing I ever developed associations with, so I do enjoy it, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. There's a shocker for you.
I always think of, when I think of lilacs, I think of the movie Candle Shoe, because her two stuffed animals are supposed to smell like lilacs. What a very specific thing. But I'm like, this is what they smell like.
It's more than I got. For sure.
Seems like they should smell like lilacs.
I think I fell asleep watching Candle Shoe with you.
I think you stayed awake.
Did I watch the whole thing?
I remember you actually stayed awake.
I remember so little of it.
Well, I've seen that movie a million times.
That's the difference right there.
Yes.
It's just great how our obsessions like overlap in so many areas, and then there's all these like outside of the Venn diagram, there's these strange esoteric interests like Candle Shoe.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, this would be a wonderful thing for a stuffed animal to smell like, and I actually kind of like the idea because we were going in such a heavy, romantic, intense, kind of mindset before, but I like the idea of this being like a comforting kind of grounding scent.
Yeah.
Like it has like an ethereal aspect to it, but there's also just something about it that's just so like rich and almost earthy. I don't know. Someone come along in the comments and mop up after us, because I feel like we're just like, blowing it. But going around and smelling them all now is surreal.
A lot of flowers.
I mean, and they're changing and evolving in ways that we don't even have time to get into now, but it is fascinating to see, like, I mean, what a overall, like, intensely floral collection. Aside from that really spicy, papery tobacco one, which I'm, like, trying to find. I did end up back in the Fairy Wonderland one, and it's just, like, riotous. Well, I guess that's what we've got for you. Disco has given up, and now that we're finished, of course, is quietly occupying himself on the floor in the kitchen. And we will be working ever more toward returning to our regular schedule. I feel like I've been saying for the last, like, 5 videos that we're going to do some shungas, but we will do them. Right? Someone will do them.
I don't know.
Oh, yes. Really quick before we finish, I will reiterate what we've said online, is that we have been slowed down a bit because we did have a COVID outbreak at the lab. Not it.
Also not it.
Also not it. But
doesn't matter who's it.
It doesn't matter. But we did have a slowdown this past week, which may result in some orders taking longer or customer service requests taking a little longer to be fulfilled. I think we're pulling out of it because everyone, I think, is like starting to test negative and get back to work, and we're digging out, but like it still may be a minute. So
just a bit of a hiccup. Thank
you for all the well wishes. Everyone left a lot of really beautiful comments online, hoping that everyone would get well soon and feel better, and they do feel better and are getting well. So you did it. No, it's greatly appreciated, and we just love having this strain taken off of feeling like we've disappointed everyone when things slow down inevitably, as things are wont to do. So with that, we wish you to have a wonderful week and to take care of yourself, because cases are on the rise everywhere. Here in LA, they might bring back the mask mandate, so batten down.
I mean, they never should have taken it away.
Right. It was.
There's my 2 cents.
Right, and I mean, as evidenced by the fact that, like, surprise,
we need it again.
Here we are again. So, everyone, just go back to your regularly scheduled apocalypse already in progress, and we will fume you later.
Ooh.
Fume heads. Bye now.